Some of it.
What's the next game?
What, us?
Yeah, what's the next game?
Portsmouth. Saturday.
Where's Portsmouth? They won the league yet? Or?
Yeah, they won it last night. How's the league? How's the league?
Looking alright.
Feels good.
Actually looking alright.
You remember that barber at Swindon? When he come round that time?
Yeah. I was supposed to go and see him, you know. I was gonna do some content with him.
You was interested in cutting hair and that then though, weren't you?
Yeah. That's what I was gonna come on to in a second.
Was ya?
Say. What career path do you think you would have taken if you wasn't playing football? Or do you not really think about it?
I think it's one of them. It's obviously as you invested in being a footballer and so focused and driven on being a footballer from such a young age and you put so much into it. I don't know. I feel like I never really thought about it. Like that. But I suppose I'm always obviously interested in sports and stuff at school. So yeah, maybe something to do definitely in sports, because that's obviously where my passion was at. But yeah, I feel like I've just always been so focused on being a footballer. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, the reason I asked it is because I got asked this question quite a bit when I was playing, and particularly towards the end of playing.
Yeah,
you sort of start to
worry
about it, I'd say, or if not worry, you start to think about it anyway. Certainly you think about it a lot more. But I was like you, I think when I was young I was so obsessed and so determined that I was going to make it that I didn't really think of anything else. And you know, even barbering, I've loved sort of being in barbershops, having different hairstyles. Like I was always into art at school.
Yeah.
But if you had ever asked me this when I was young and playing, you know, I would have never mentioned being a barber.
Yeah.
And I think subconsciously it's something that has been in me that I didn't really know until you sort of get to that situation of life after football. You know, but which brings me on to the next question. If you could sort of give any advice to young players chasing their dream of being a footballer, what would you say?
I think it's the cliche one, isn't it? But it is the most important. Just I think it's anything about life or anything you want to do, just hard work.
Just there's no shortcuts to the top.
Yeah,
man.
you got to be obsessed with it, and yeah, hard work is the key. But definitely, I think as I've got a little bit older now as well and played a few more games, I think you got to have confidence and believe in your ability as well. That's a massive one. I can definitely, you notice it within every player and stuff like that, and within yourself as well. When your confidence is low, I don't think you perform as well. So yeah, just always having that belief in yourself and the confidence, it's key.
Yeah, confidence is part of one of the biggest challenges in football. Like people speak about confidence, but would you say hard work is part of that? Is the harder you work, I feel like the luckier you can get sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like you just said, I feel like if you know you've done the work and you're constantly doing the right things and doing your gym and doing your extras and stuff like that, I feel like that breeds confidence inside you. And then, like I say, a confident footballer is you sort of you can't play within yourself. You're never going to get the best out of yourself if you don't believe.
Self belief is so important, isn't it?
So important.
So what would you say the biggest difference is in terms of level? So obviously you're with Wigan, you know, no disrespect to Wigan being where they are at the moment, you know, in League One.
Yeah.
But what would you say the biggest difference is when you sort of at Premier League level with the players that are in the Prem? Obviously there's a lot of financial power in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know, but in terms of players and player attributes, what would you say the difference is, or do you even notice a difference?
It's a tough one, really.
Like, so for example, I when I was playing, you know, some of the games I had with Jamaica, you sort of playing against the world's best players.
Yeah.
And I used to feel like I'm not a million miles away.
Yeah.
But then, for example, I could go back to League One or League Two.
Yeah.
And play against a lesser team on the weekend.
Yeah.
And struggle.
And play.
And feel like
you
know, I'm miles off.
Yeah.
But you know, I just feel like the one thing I notice with those top players is their consistency is just, you know, it's top really. They're consistent, very consistent. Obviously they're playing at the top level, where it's sort of televised more. And I just feel like they're so consistent.
And that's what I think. That's the thing that, as you know, like ability-wise, sometimes there isn't much in it between League One, the Champ, and even some players playing in the Premier League. I don't think that's anything to do with it. Like as you know, as I say, ability will only take you so far. But I think just from the top, obviously they have an elite mentality, which is why they're there and they stay there. To just have that, like you say, the consistency, the hunger, and standards really. They're performing at the highest level week in, week out, every day in training. The standards that they set themselves are so high. I'd say it's down to that really.
What was Mikel Arteta like as a manager?
He's good, really good. He makes you see football. That's the thing, like, you might feel this as well, but I feel like sometimes when you get to, I've been on a few loans, so obviously you've been in and around a men's environment, and then you don't think that you know it all, but that's what I mean, playing football your whole life, you feel like there's not much more that you can sort of learn and take on. But when I was there last year, he makes you see football in a complete different way. And I've heard a lot of players say that, to be fair. So he's intense, as I just said, talking about standards and stuff like that. He's really intense in that respect. He helped me loads.
And your manager at Wigan now, what's he like compared?
He's
alright.
He's been really good for me as well. Obviously I was a free agent in the summer, and I had a meeting with him and the sporting director, and as soon as I stepped out of the meeting, I was like, that's where I want to go. Especially for me as well, he's given me that freedom this year to almost how I've played my whole life, being at Arsenal and stuff like that. He's sort of allowed me and helped me to play that way this year, which is refreshing really, because obviously in League One, League Two, it can be tough. Obviously that's the strengths of my game, so he's allowed me to do that this year, and I've really enjoyed it.
I think that's so important in football, is that relationship you have with the manager.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing that can affect your confidence sometimes. If you've got a manager who you know believes in you,
Yeah.
you can go out there and sort of, perform without that fear of,
Yeah.
sort of being subbed or taken off.
Yeah.
And sort of just do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And that's not always given in football, you know what I mean? You have to,
to
work hard and gain the manager's trust.
Yeah, 100%.
I think, especially early on in my career, I don't know how you feel about it, but particularly when I was young, I was a bit afraid at times to sort of ask the manager exactly what it was they were looking for.
Yeah.
And you sort of just play, but the older I got, the more I realised you sort of have to really get on board with
it's important.
what the manager wants. As I said, my favourite player was Ronaldinho. I wanted to go out and do tricks and sort of impress the fans. Where I quickly realised it's about results, and you've got to. You've got to go and get results. There's no good sort of doing 20 step overs, but you lose the game because you find yourself on the bench. So.
And I think that's especially now as well. Tactically, teams are so much better.
Yeah.
And that's massive.
Your game understanding needs to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be good. What's it looking like for Matt Smith going forward next season?
Trying to get promotion, I think. Got a new owner in. So I think this year, considering we had such a young side, and just getting a bit of stability back in the club, really. In that respect, we've had a good season with the -8 points we started on as well. And just trying to build on that for next year, really, and hopefully try and push for playoffs.
5 questions. So, you ready for them?
Let's go.
All right. Lacazette or Aubameyang?
Lacazette.
Okay. Ozil or Odegaard?
Odegaard.
Okay. Arsene Wenger or Arteta?
Arteta.
Okay. Yes, YouTube, that's your boy, Matty Smith. Behind the fade. If you like what you've seen today, then be sure to give me a like, share, and subscribe. This is the cut. Hopefully you like it.
Thank you, brother.